On this episode, we welcome back the Department of Community Affairs. We sit down with Chief of Staff Kaya King and Michael Callahan, the Director of Homelessness Prevention.
I think it's fascinating how you came to this position and given what you've done in the past. And you mentioned that you were in the military, and the whole topic of veterans homelessness is something that is just beyond critical, and no one wants to see homelessness anywhere, but particularly amongst our veterans. Is this something that your office is looking at? And if so, what's going on in the area of veteran homelessness?
Oh, sure. So we're going to do the thing here in the state, right? There's, as the governor said, we're going to not only functionally end veteran homelessness, so that means, right, reducing the inflow, outflow. So there's parity where for every one veteran who enters the system, there's one veteran that exits to homelessness, right? We're also going to substantially reduce the number of homeless veterans in the state, with the optimal idea, the goalpost being, right, no veteran is going to be even sheltered or in transitional housing, right, as far as they have to be for more than 30 days, right? That's the goal in order for us to get there, right? And importantly, it's everything we've talked about so far, right? One of the best things to do when you want to engage in system change behaviors is to have a really politically lovely segment of the population, right, that everybody wants to end it for, right? Because there is that, it's not only the idea of a worthy poor, it's the right thing to do, but also importantly, right, is that shows our values as both a state, as a government, but then also too as a nation, right? Yes. And in doing so, right, with the state, it's deploying multiple agencies, so working with the partners over the Department of Military and Veteran Affairs, right, to not only help build infrastructure there, right, as we're doing this as a parallel process so that they can more substantially engage with veterans experiencing homelessness, but it's ensuring that there's alignment between our federal partners, our other state agencies, our local folks, but also to adding in this another layer of regional data coordination, right, whereby we can substantially and impactfully end a veteran's homelessness, oftentimes by reducing the risk of that veteran's homelessness, right? And an important facet of what we're going to do here in the state is not just for folks that meet the federal definition of veteran, right, but also for National Guard members, right? So you might not meet the federal definition of homelessness, but guess what? You might have been down at the Armory here in Passaic County, right? And you might have served and you never deployed, but guess what? You showed up and showed out to every single natural disaster that was in the state in New Jersey, right? You put up GP medium tents and you were handing out MREs and you were building up sandbags when there was flooding. But guess what? Now you've been living on the street for a year, right? Like you are going to have the opportunity to do that where you might have been excluded from some federal benefits just because of some silly bureaucratic rule, right? We're going to go and make sure that we can serve you. And simultaneously, it's also for the reserve component, right? That's a unique facet of the program, is that even though you have Title 10 service, right, if you weren't deployed or you don't have anything other than drilling service, right, with an Army Reserve unit or Marine Corps Reserve unit or a Navy Reserve unit, right, you wouldn't necessarily in some circumstances be eligible for those federal benefits. But guess what? Even if you're still on reserve status, right, if you are, going to work in an Amazon warehouse and you are a private first class Joe Snuffy drilling at Picatinny Arsenal, right, but guess what? You're sleeping in your car, right? We're gonna make sure that we end your homelessness, and that's something that's very unique to what we're doing. And it's taken a lot of work with our federal partners to get them to do that. But importantly, one of the things that we're not setting statutory precedent, we're not doing something like that. It's just we're going and showing how you can do this for the widest population with the widest parameters. Right. But ensuring that everybody's in and nobody's out.
Sure. Do you foresee any special brick and mortar programs that would enable community organizations and other developers to build housing specifically for the veterans population? Is this something that perhaps HMFA might be contemplating as a sort of carve out or a unique special needs population?
Right. So I don't know what HMFA is going to do necessarily. But, there's a lot of one of the best ways to actually become an affordable housing developer is to build affordable housing units for veterans, because it's also too, when we talk about partnering with our municipalities, right? There's often not a lot of umbrage or other things at a zoning meeting. There's often, right? Hey, no, we're going to go house homeless vets. All right, cool. Let's go. Right. And also the partnerships and and importantly, with bringing vets home for the state initiative, it's a parallel process of where we're deploying resources, but we're really trying to change system behaviors and build a couple other necessary pillars into our homelessness services ecosystem that are prerequisite if we're going to do a sprint around chronic homelessness in the state, unsheltered homelessness to the state. But we have to show traction, but we have to kind of build that into the system of providers to do so. And so working also to do with the production side, right? Importantly, getting our partners at VFWs, American Legions, Daughters of the American Revolution, right? Other, really more socially conscious, kind of leaning toward veteran service organizations, right? Getting them to be a little more comfortable in partnering with our community-based organizations and saying, hey, we're not good at development. Veterans, but you're not good at development. We're going to sign an MOU and we're going to figure this out. And the state's going to increasingly offer some pretty substantial TA around it, right? That's how you get those synergies, which really drive really great change.
I just want to add, there's a great example of that next door in the city of Passaic, where the local VFW post partnered with what is now Passaic County Habitat for Humanity to take their old post and to rehabilitate it. So it is now, I think it's almost done, a new VFW post on the bottom floor with 2 stories above it of brand new affordable housing for veterans.
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing we need to do.